Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity, community service, volunteering, and as well as inspiring others. You know, we're all about positivity here on the show. And I've got a very special guest with me here today. He is a professional wrestler, actor, musician, songwriter, and owner, or former owner, I should say, of All Pro Championship Wrestling, the one and only Mr. Joey Garland. Joey, welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, all right. So talk to me about where you grew up. Tell me about your upbringing.
Well, I grew up in Douglasville, Georgia. It's about 30 minutes west of Atlanta. Born and raised there. Grew up in a musical family. So that's where I get the music side of things from. And, of course, grew up as a stepfather, mother, and stepbrothers and sisters and stuff like that. So I kind of grew up in the country.
Okay. Very
you can tell
nice.
from my accent. So
I can tell, yes. A lot of countryside, see all kinds of stuff, Americana, parks, galore, national parks.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's so cool. So were you always a big wrestling fan? What got you interested?
Yeah. So my grandfather owned a hardware store / gas station. And in Carrollton, Georgia, which is about just 20, 30 minutes up the road, back then World Championship Wrestling would come there on Saturday nights, which was a Ted Turner production.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the wrestlers would stop at my grandfather's store on the way there to get fuel.
Yeah.
And I was probably 6, 7 years old. I'd run out there and help pump the gas and get autographs and things like that. So then my dad would carry me to the Saturday night event. I'd see him later, and so I just kind of became a fan at a young age and was hooked.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're that young, I mean, it's just exciting to watch, professional wrestling for the first time. Who were like some of your favorites growing up to watch?
Oh gosh, Mr. Wrestling #2, Abdullah the Butcher, Wildfire Tommy Rich, Randy Rhodes. Those were some of the big names at that time. Bruiser Brody,
Mm-hmm.
The
late great.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Oh sure. Did you get to go to the TV tapings that they had over at Atlanta? I think they were at like WTBS studios.
I did go once or twice. I did, and then when that promotion kind of fell through and they weren't at Carrollton no more, I started going to some of the big arena events, Great American Bash, which on top then was the Road Warriors and the Freebirds. In fact, I think it was Great American Bash of 1986. And now Phillips Arena. It used to be the Omni. They had a double ring battle royal deal, and it was Michael P.S. Hayes and Freebirds and David Allen Coe in concert, followed by a double ring event. And
like
so I knew then you can merge music and wrestling.
Yes, that rock. I mean, 80s rock and wrestling connection. I mean, with Cyndi Lauper and Lou Albano, and
Yep. Bad Street, Atlanta, GA. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right. I think they came out to that song for years, the
Yeah,
Freebirds.
yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Michael Hayes was a good. He was a good. He had a good gimmick, good everything going on for him. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he became a writer for McMahon.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's still there, I believe, too.
I believe so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Been doing it a long time. So you got started, tell me about, what was it that said, this is what I want to do?
Well, I kind of have what I call ADD of careers. I sort of can't make up my mind which career I'm going to follow, so I bounce around. But Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone, I just lost Joe not long ago, but along with Jody Hamilton, known as the Assassin, and Jerry C. Blackwood, they started Deep South Promotions and started going back to the Carrollton Fairgrounds. And they were doing TV tapings. And on Saturday night, for it seemed like 4 hours, Joe and Bonnie would host wrestling and show on the TV and show promotions from all over the world, NWA, Continental, all of them. And so they started filming Deep South there at the fairgrounds. I started going early and staying late, helping with the ring and this, that, and the other, and making friends with a few of them. Next thing you know, they're training me, uh, and and I just kept going. I was hooked.
Yeah. So you got your foot in the door. You want to become a wrestler. You start, the training process. It's not easy. It's a lot of discipline,
Nope.
hard work. Tell me about, your experience as far as becoming a wrestler is concerned.
Well,
Goes.
it was a little harder for me. I was diagnosed with scoliosis at a young age. So, with a little bit of a crooked spine, about 14 degrees, um, I was just always, I kind of dealt with some back pain at that age. So, I was always a little paranoid of is this the day, that I get hurt and can't walk again or something. Um, but, when you're that age, you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, right? So, um, I just continued to do it. But things started shifting in the late 80s when McMahon was really getting huge and WCW was in competition, and they were sort of battling back and forth as competitors, trying to find the biggest and bulkiest steroided bodybuilding 7 foot tall giants to put in the ring.
The
And I
Hulk
just,
Hogan guys.
yeah, and I was, yeah, and I was 5'10" and 220 pounds, but I couldn't compete with that. So I just said, reality, a reality check is that I'll never get off the regional circuit, So I just started focusing on my music more because, and getting out of bed in the morning wasn't as bad playing music because I was taking
No,
bumps.
right, right. Who were like some of your favorites to work against?
Oh gosh, Terry Lawler. Uh, Terry Lawler is one of the best ones that I've. He was very good to work with. Um, Tommy Rich. I didn't work against him, but we worked together as tag team time or two, and that was he was always great to work with as a partner. Elrod Campbell, he and I ran a feud for several years with APCW. He's always good to work with. You can find a lot of that on YouTube. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a little easier to remember the hard ones to work against than it is the good ones.
Yeah.
If they're stiff and constantly getting you in, in other words, if they stiff you, they got one coming.
Hey, you went by the name J.J. Boone. Who came up with
Right.
that character?
Well, like I was saying, in the late '80s, things were shifting, so gimmicks were a big thing. You just didn't find a like Jesse James or you know they might put a name in front of them like Hacksaw Jim Duggan or something like that. But um, so I needed a gimmick, and as a kid, I was always a fan of watching Daniel Boone and enthused with Daniel Boone and his lifestyle. So I just kind of came up somehow, popped out of my head to come up with the gimmick of the direct descendant of Daniel Boone, and so my wardrobe was a coonskin hat and cowhide jacket and that kind of thing. So
Right. Okay.
yeah,
I bet the fans loved it.
yeah, it went over pretty good. Um, it did, it did.
Yeah. All right. Now, you owned a wrestling school at one point called All Pro Championship Wrestling. Was that your idea to start the school? Who came up with that?
Yeah, well, like I say, I had kind of gotten out of the business to pursue the music, so um, music and acting. But I started working uh, in law enforcement with Tony Carr. He was Corporal Punishment of WCW, and they were gonna the county and the county sheriff's office, along with the commissioner, they wanted to do a fundraiser for Toys for Tots at the Christmas parade and all this, that, and the other. So Tony Carr came to me and said, "Well, what if we do a match to help raise?" So I said, "Okay, so we'll do it at the high school gym." So we did a promotion that two deputies feuding and kind of thing, and we worked, drawed a little crowd, and next thing you know, let's do another one. And then um, Tony came to me and said, Robert Gibson from just moved to town. He don't know anybody here or whatever. And so in Pensacola, Florida. So I bought in to that, and we started running a promotion together. And then we opened up the training school. And so we were doing Saturday night events. We would host our home promotion and travel in between to different promotions. And then, in the training school, well, and I'd said I wasn't getting back in the business, and there I was back in it again. So I intended to not really wrestle. I thought, well, I'll just run the business side of things and we'll open up the school and I'll do some training with them. So, but once you step in the square circle, the fever catches you. Next thing you know, I'm taking flying back drops and bumping all over the place, and then you need kind of one particular one Saturday night. I thought, well, we didn't have enough people for the card, so I put myself on the card. Thought, well, nobody is going to know me. I'm going to have to rebuild. But to my surprise, when we went to my hometown and did a show, and I was very shocked at all the people that remembered me. It was quite touching, actually, to know I was still remembered.
Yeah.
So just kind of kept going there for a few years.
Well, they say, just when they thought you're out, they pull you right back in. I mean,
Yeah,
it's pretty
yeah.
cool.
But about 6 years ago, I sold out my half and cashed out and started focusing back on my music and acting.
Yeah.
And
And
it don't hurt as bad mornings getting out of bed.
right. Yep. Definitely more more easier on the body.
Yes.
You had an alumni, few alumni come out of that school that are now in the business. Who can you tell me?
Yeah, Lauren, one of our female students, I just learned recently that she has now went on to become a member in the in WOW,
Yeah.
WOW, whatever, an all women promotion. I don't know what name she's going by. I just was told this the other day. I don't know if she's going by Lauren
Yeah.
or what. But yeah, so she came in real tense. I remember she came in. She was scared to even take a bump.
Really?
She'd never been in a ring before, and I'm gonna tell you what. Within 6 months, I was sort of in the advanced stages of working with her. I mean, she I knew she had what it took. You know, the reality is a lot of people come in with big dreams, but they just ain't got the look or the skill. But she had it all. She definitely had the X factor. So
Yeah, I mean that's very inspirational, to anybody listening out there that, thinks that they're not able to do something, but if you just work hard at it, the sky's the
right,
limit. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, to leave that legacy behind. Let's talk about your music career. You were a big
yep.
fan of music growing up. Like, who were like some of your favorite bands and artists to listen to? What kind of got you inspired as far as your own songwriting?
Well, of course, I'm biased. My grandfather, he was the backbone of of music in our family. Um, my mother, my uncle, my cousins, we all played in a family show kind of thing. So, but when I became about 15, I really got interested in writing. So I joined the Nashville Songwriters Association as well as the uh, Atlanta Songwriters Association, which later became Georgia Music Industry Association, and started studying the craft of writing. There's an art to it. It's more than just rhyming words. Um, you have different song formats. You have different rhyming schemes. Uh, in the world of songwriting, you can call it a verse chorus or an AABA format. Like AABA formats are some of your prettiest ballads. So there's a lot to know about it
Yeah.
than just rhyming words.
Who were who were like artists that you feel like really encapsulated your
Well, yeah, as far as a songwriter, Harlan Howard was a great, one of the best writers. Owen Bradley, one of the best producers that ever lived. In as far as the early days, people my grandfather worked with. But then you got in my generation, you had Scott Hendricks and Tim Dubois. Some of those were the best writers and producers. Um, Billy Joe Schaefer was a great writer. Um, Skip Ewing. Skip Ewing, one of the all-time most hit-making songwriters has ever lived. And I recently moved to Wyoming, and now I'm just a few hours from Skip Ewing. So we are hoping to team up very soon and start doing some writing together. Um, Skip has had so many cuts from Kenny Chesney. Oh gosh, you name it. Uh, from the 80s to the present, Skip has had so many songs recorded. It's a lot of them number ones too.
That's really good. Really good. You've found something you're passionate about, another thing you're passionate about, and you're putting it all together. Uh, and you've also done some acting as well. Tell me about that.
Yeah, when I was in law enforcement, um, I started acting um, for training videos, uh, kind of reenactment of kind of like what you see on the ID channel. And then I did some few other little spots here and there. And then when COVID hit and the music touring just came to a screeching halt, seemed like the movie business kind of kept going. So to make up for that time in the music, I started trying to gain more uh, roles of acting and writing music for some of the films.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how things kind of come together. I started doing I started going to a cowboy church, which is nothing more than cowboy enthusiasts coming together having church. But we were having church at a ghost town, and the ghost town was rented out for movie sets and stuff. So a movie film come in, they needed some people. So I did a couple of those, and then I started doing a halftime show at the rodeo circuit. We would have shootouts on horseback and, and stunts and stuff for the rodeo circuit. Well, that led to acting and writing in another film, and then as I always do, instead of working for somebody else, I got I guess the ADD of career, I call it, but I got to do my own film. So teamed up with a guy by the name of Jason Ryan, who gave his first attempt at writing a script. But he's the type to really study, and before he makes an attempt, he's going to kind of know what he's doing. So I put a team together for Jason, and we filmed a short called the Four Horsemen. And as of to date, we've won about 18 awards on the film festival circuit with that film, which has now led to a full feature called Under the Southern Skies. And we just recently got John Schneider on board to play one of the lead roles. And everybody knows John Schneider as Bo Duke from Dukes of Hazzard. So, yeah. So we're looking forward to this one. Yeah. So, and I've written some music for that as well. And the Four Horsemen, I wrote a soundtrack for that the Confederate Railroad recorded. So, been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, man, you've done so many things, in the wrestling world, music, acting, all coming together. And, you touched on it a little bit. You've mentioned working with law enforcement. Let's talk about, the charity work and things that you've done outside of your entertainment ventures. What kind of organizations have you worked with over the years?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see. Toys for Tots that I mentioned, we've done stuff for them. Habitat for Humanity, done stuff with that. This past Christmas Eve, I guess this would be a form of charity. I went up to the Children's Hospital in Billings, and I went around and played Christmas songs for all the kids that were in the hospital during Christmas, the pediatric unit. That was heart-wrenching to say the least. Thoroughly enjoyed it, though. Intend to do that again this year. And then there's been, I did a lot of benefit concerts for people in the community that needed to raise money to fight cancer or something like that. Relay for Life, done some stuff for them. So, I never, if schedule permits, I never try to turn down something that I can give back. I live by the golden rule. Treat others as if you want to be treated. So, or at least I try my best to.
Was there a particular memory or a favorite organization that you worked with in the past that you recall really well?
Not so much organization. Um, I have, I would have to say that going around and playing Christmas songs for the pediatrics, and that was probably the most memorable. Not that the others weren't important. It's just because that one was just I and them. There was no organization in between, and 501c3 officers, and some, you know, oh, you can't do this because we got to do it this way. And then, this, all the politics was out of this. It's just me, my guitar, and them. So I got probably the most joy out of that
Yeah.
than anything.
Seems like a lot of people would attend those kinds of concerts, those kinds of events.
Well, I mean, I just went room to room at the hospital. There was not an audience, except maybe the kids had some family members in there, but
Okay.
I just went room to room. It wasn't like we set up a big production and, brought everybody outside and let the public came.
Yeah.
And the kids didn't know I was coming. So it's just, I walk in their room, if they are physically capable, some of them were comatose or whatever, and wouldn't even know that I was there. I did, of course, go in a lot of those and just pray for them, but but the ones that could sit, and I'd take a request, and they'd want to hear Frosty the Snowman or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just me and them, and became Facebook friends and things with some of the families. So, um, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. It's very heartwarming, make
Yeah.
someone's day, with a song.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Um, why do you feel passionate about helping others?
Well, because I believe that someday we'll have to answer to that as to why we did or didn't. You know, I'm definitely a believer, and I think that we live in a very selfish world, and I've been very blessed to have accomplished what I have accomplished, and I've had my trials and tribulations. There's been the ups and downs, and I've had some really low lows. But in the great scheme of things, I've been very blessed, and one can take that for granted. And so, when I'm going down the road, and if I'm going down the interstate and I pass a hospital, I just think of all the people in there. Some of them are making life and death decisions. Some of them may not even come out of there. Yet we can ride by a hospital not giving a thought. And so now when I pass a hospital, I just say a little prayer for everybody in there. And so, I just try not to take the blessings for granted.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Do what? No. No, he's probably inside the office building. I'm sorry. I'm in my tour bus, and
Oh, cool.
I'm stopped here at a repair shop having the rooftop ACs worked on.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so a customer came up, thought I was the owner. Nope, not this place. Anyway.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, definitely it's important to, give back and help out when people are going through a hard time, because you just never know, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. That is very true. It's just, I'd hate to face the good Lord and said, of all the years of life I give you, what did you do for me and what did you do for others? You just stop and think about, if you've passed on and that you're facing judgment and that's asked to you, you don't get a redo.
No. No.
So, I've had people that didn't believe ask me, what if you, and I know we're probably getting off topic here a little bit, but I have to take the opportunity. But people say they don't believe. So, well, what if you've lived your life by the good book and then you find out it was all for nothing? I said, well, what are you going to do if you didn't? And you find out, because living by the good book creates a very good quality of life. So I ain't lost. If there's nothing after here, I ain't lost. It calls to be a very good person and a good quality of life. Yeah. But if you didn't, can't go, whoops.
Right. Well, Joey, this has been wonderful getting to talk with you. Where can people
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, where can people find you on social media?
Well, I have several Facebook pages. One is JMP Productions. That's my company, JMP Productions. And then Outpost Opry variety shows also on Facebook. And that is also our website, outpostopry.com. That's my variety show that we travel with. And then, of course, under just the name Joey Garland, I have my personal Facebook. People can, so I'm out there, and you can also YouTube JJ Boone and see matches, and or YouTube Outpost Opry Show. And when we're out traveling doing shows, a lot of people put their phone videos on there. But there are also some professional video on there as well. So,
okay.
But outpostopry.com is the best way.
All right. Be sure to check that out. Hey, Joey, this has been wonderful, and I just want to say thank you for coming on Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and the listeners and viewers. You're more than welcome to come back on in the future. Love to have you back.
I'd love to, and I hope to run across you out there someday on the circuit.
Yeah.
Probably won't be in wrestling unless it's just a gathering of the old guys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I hope to see you at one of the shows, and feel free to
I'd love
call
to.
me anytime.
I'd love to. Thank you so much.
Yep. You're very welcome.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, man. If you need somebody else, let me know.
I would be happy to. Thank you.
I can hook you up with Tony Carr or some of those guys.
Sure. Be great. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.